Dun, dun. Anyway, welcome everybody. This is the 12 o'clock live show of the Brad and Squeeze Show. We are calling it the Brad San Squeeze. Squeeze is in Jamaica on assignment. He had to, I believe, get his orange shirt and peach jacket cleaned at the dry cleaner and told me he was unable to make the 12 o'clock show. Actually, I don't know where he is, but he did text me and say he did have stuff to do, unfortunately. He sends his regards and says, Brad, best of luck to you doing the show on your own. So we are live on 93.5 FM. I am flying solo right now. And let's see if this is showing up live here on my, here we are, I'm on Facebook. Good morning, good afternoon, Carol. And who just said good afternoon. But she said good afternoon to Squeeze, who isn't here. It's just Brad Bernstein. And we're going to be answering your immigration questions and your legal issues and your legal problems over the next hour. So it is Veterans Day. We are live. It is Friday. And the telephone number to call to get your immigration questions asked and answered is 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. A lot of people out today. Kim out also. Everybody's kind of left me. But we do got Muta Ali, and we got Jill and Patrice and Tiffany and everybody else there, our group. But in terms of on-air personalities, it's just, and Giselle, it's just me. Giselle filling in for Kim. All right, so the number to call, we have 12 open lines right now, is 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. That is the number to Spar and Bernstein. It's also the number to the law offices of Spar and Bernstein. It's also the number to call and get your immigration questions asked and answered, your legal questions asked and answered. It's not a coincidence it's the same telephone number because you're calling my law office, Spar and Bernstein. And then you'll either say, I want to make an appointment to see Brad, or I would like to get on the radio and ask my legal questions. 1-800-529-5465. It is Veterans Day. We found out this morning, we had Jill do some research for us. We found out this morning Veterans Day started as Armistice Day after World War I. President Woodrow Wilson commemorating the end of World War I, and it is turned subsequently into Veterans Day, where we honor our veterans in the military. And happy Veterans Day to everybody who is not only serving this great country of the United States of America, but also happy Veterans Day to all of those who have served and are now retired from the military and honorably discharged. The telephone number to call to get your legal questions asked and answered, 1-800-529-5465. While we're waiting for the phones to light up, I do have some news here to report on everybody. There's a gentleman by the name of Roy Moore. Immigrants may know him as a very anti-immigrant, somewhat, although people would argue, white supremacist, who used to be the head of the Supreme Court of the state of Alabama, and he was kicked off of the Supreme Court of Alabama because he refused to follow a federal court order to remove the Ten Commandments from the courthouse. He is a very devout Christian. He is the president of the Foundation for Moral Law. Moral Law is his foundation. He has been accused as being president of this foundation of hiding over $1 million and avoidance of taxes. Nevertheless, he's anti-homosexual. He's anti-minority. He seems to socialize or be somehow connected to white supremacists in the Ku Klux Klan. And somehow he is running for the Senate for the vacant seat by Jeff Sessions in Alabama. Donald Trump is supporting this dude. And apparently all his bad stuff that he has done so far has not gotten him in as much hot water. You know, the white supremacist thing, the avoiding, refusing to adhere to a federal judge to remove the Ten Commandments from the courthouse because you don't want this, separation of church and state, the hiding of $1 million in taxes. And now, it's amazing that this guy is still even in public office anywhere. He has been accused of sexual misconduct with a 14-year-old when he was 32. well, he's now, I guess, in his 60s, but he was accused of sexual misconduct with a 14-year-old. This is the same man who's the president of the foundation of the moral law? Come on. What a hypocrite. He denies any wrongdoing. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders told reporters that Donald Trump believes that we cannot allow a mere allegation, in this case, one from many years ago, to destroy a person's life. But if the allegations are true, Judge Moore should do the right thing and step aside. What about the allegation of stealing $1 million? What about the allegation of not following federal court orders? What about the, you want to be a senator, but you won't follow a federal court order? That's okay. Hanging out with Ku Klux Klan? That's fine. Still not stepping aside. Crazy. This is good news for immigrants. Phil Murphy, who's the new governor of New Jersey, he's a pro-immigrant governor, and he is advocating for the call of many, including now the governor-elect of New Jersey, to end the Essex County jail agreement with federal immigration agents to house immigrants in Essex County. About a dozen gathered on the steps of the Hall of Records chanting, "Shut it down, shut it down," and calling for the board of chosen freeholders to immediately sever its contract with ICE that allows the agency to place immigrant detainees inside the Essex County Correctional Facility. And that is the picture of the Essex County Jail, where if you are an immigrant and you are going to go be arrested by ICE, you could end up in that jail. And the governor is now asking for, the governor-elect is now saying that that shouldn't happen anymore. Not in his state and not in the county of Essex. Well, here's some good immigration news, by the way, while we're waiting for the lines to heat up here at 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. Voters in the Montana capital of Helena. Now, Montana is not known as an immigrant bastion, by the way. I don't know what their makeup is in terms of the population, in terms of their ethnic backgrounds and ethnicities and religious backgrounds in Helena, Montana. But my guess would be that it is predominantly a white city and a white state. But I could be wrong, but that's my guess. But voters in Montana, in the capital of Montana, have elected for the first time a Liberian refugee as their next mayor. Wilmot Collins ousted four-term Helena Mayor Jim Smith, 51% to 48%. There he is, a Liberian refugee to the United States. Collins campaigned for more affordable housing, addressing homelessness among military veterans and teens, and for increasing the staff of the police and the fire departments. Collins is a state child protection specialist and adjunct instructor at Helena College, University of Montana. He is a member of the United States Naval Reserves. He fled Liberia in the early 1990s, came to America as a refugee, the same program that Donald Trump wants to end. So if he wanted to flee Liberia now, Donald Trump, with his vetting, may not have allowed this man to enter the United States. And look what a wonderful job he has done in the United States since coming here. And he is believed to be the first black mayor of Helena, Montana, since 1874. So congratulations to Wilmot Collins, showing not only Donald Trump but the entire world what if there is a level playing field and you allow immigrants to come, and the best and brightest will rise. The telephone number to call is 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. What else is happening in the news? A man charged with DUI after going to vote a day early. Apparently the man was drunk and showed up to vote, and he was so drunk he didn't even know it wasn't the day to vote. So he did not get his vote in, unfortunately, and he got arrested for DUI. Police in Pennsylvania say they arrested this man who showed up to an elementary school intoxicating, hoping to vote, but apparently it was the wrong day. 34-year-old Douglas Shuttlesworth they charged him with a DUI after they found him at a school in Harrisburg on Monday. There's the drunk guy, and he's running around the school yelling, "Where's the voting booth?" And he was on the wrong day. That's what happens. What else is happening here? All right, there's a lot. Sheep. Oh, you want me to talk about sheep? Apparently, let me find the sheep thing. Louis C.K., Roy Moore, detention facility, the mayor of sheep. I found the card with sheep. Here it is. A new study recognizes, oh my God, you really want me to say this? Barack. Is that Barack Obama's face can be recognized by sheep. A new study shows that sheep, I can't believe I just did a Barack. A new study, that's really bad. A new study shows that sheep have the ability to recognize human faces from photographs on computer screens. And the Cambridge University study published Wednesday also shows that sheep can recognize the face of their human handlers without any prior training. It has been known that sheep can recognize familiar faces of other sheep and of humans. The researchers say the study of the ability of sheep to recognize faces may be useful in telling people to stop eating sheep. Stop eating sheep. I mean, people eat lamb. These are smart animals. It also may be useful in research into Huntington's disease and other human brain disorders. But really, stop eating sheep. There you go. 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-529-5465. It is about 12:15 now. We're going to answer your immigration questions. In addition, I'm making myself laugh with the stop eating sheep. In addition, we're going to get to Giselle, our social media guru today. She's filling in for Kim, and so please leave your questions and your issues on our social media page and Facebook at Law Offices of Spar and Bernstein. In the meantime, let's go to Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, you're on from Queens.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I have one question here.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in another state and you're waiting on your date for your immigration and you get a job in another state, would that affect anything?
Yes. What are you waiting on? Is this a marriage case?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're in a marriage case and you're waiting on an interview to go get your green card, and now you're going to pick up from your spouse and you're going to move to another state and live somewhere else for a job, and then you're going to go back to the state where you were supposed to be living with your spouse, walk into immigration and say, yeah, this is a real marriage, although we live hundreds or thousands of miles away from each other. They're not going to buy it. So I don't understand, and Anne-Marie, maybe you can. Maybe you don't want to say anything, but I will tell you, to me, the most important thing in the world is having people that love you and getting your green card. That's more important than money and a job. Stay right where you are.
Okay. So what you're saying, stay where you are until you're finished, right?
Stay where you are, not only until you're finished, but your intention should be that you should be living with your spouse indefinitely. Okay, you can't have the intention of staying where you are until the day you get your green card and then fly in the coop.
No, I understand what you're saying.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Paul. Paul.
Yes, Brad. Good afternoon.
How are you?
It's a marital issue. What I want to ask is, if you're married but you divorced, not divorced, separated, could the family court order you to pay spousal support?
Sure. Well, if you are divorced, if you're going through a divorce, then the spousal support's going through the judge who handled the divorce. I don't think you're going to be in family court anymore. But then again, I am not an expert in family law. We do have Megan and Kristen here in the office you're in Brooklyn. They handle this all the time, our family law department. So hold on and let's see. I think they're in the office today, and you can maybe even speak to them right now. But I'm not a family court lawyer, but I would say, generally speaking, to the best of my knowledge on family law in the state of New York, that once a divorce action happens, family law doesn't really have jurisdiction anymore. Hold on, 1-800-529-5465. Should I move? Which way should I move? I'm blocking our Spar and Bernstein sign. How about this way? Here we go. Is that good? Yeah. Huh. Now you got everything. Now it's nice, right? Nice. Very good. All right. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Jackie.
Hello.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, how are you,
Good.
sir? Quick question. My brother is a citizen here. He got married in Jamaica last year, December. How long should it take before his wife comes into the country?
He got married in December?
Yeah.
When did he file for her?
Filed for her on return in January.
So it should take a little over a year, so she should be here by the end of the winter.
By the end of it. Awesome. Thank you so
Thank you.
Oh, I have another question.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll
quick
sit back and
question.
relax while you wish.
No, if you have been living in this country for more than 30 years, you are a citizen. You traveled home and you came back, and ICE held on to you and then deported you back to your country. What could be the cause of that?
They didn't believe you were a citizen, or you didn't have proof you were a citizen, because ICE can't hold on to citizens. So it's possible that they deported a U.S. citizen unlawfully or illegally. So either you are a citizen or you're not. I have seen situations where ICE has deported citizens when they shouldn't have, and then we brought them back, and then we sued ICE.
Oh, okay. Because this happened to a friend of mine, and I'm sort of boggled by it.
Unless they're not citizens, you don't get deported if you're a citizen. No such thing as deported.
That's my understanding.
Right.
But they were trying to claim that there were some criminal charges, but they had no evidence.
Do they have a U.S. passport?
Yeah.
So then you can't be deported with a U.S. passport unless ICE is saying that he had a passport illegally, that he obtained his U.S. passport illegally, and that he's really not a U.S. citizen. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know. But if there is a U.S. citizen out there and they got deported, they should be calling me immediately.
Okay, I'll let them know.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Bernstein.
Thank you. 1-800-529-5465. Do not forget to leave your questions right now on our Facebook page at Law Offices of Spar and Bernstein and Brad H. Bernstein, because we'll be answering your immigration questions through the beautiful social media Giselle Guru stand-in in about 5 minutes or so. So please make sure that you leave your questions. If you're too shy like me, if you're a little shy like I am and you don't want to come on, just leave the question on our Facebook comments and we will answer it also. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Candy in Philadelphia. Candy.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm great. I have a question. I have a friend, and about 6 months ago, she married a man because she's from another country.
Married a man?
And yes, and she found out that he is a sex offender.
Oh, my
God. And
God.
I was like, what happens with that? What happens?
How could that happen? And he's a sex offender from another country?
No, he's a sex offender from this country.
And he went and married her in another country?
Yeah, she's here, and she met him, through church, and she got married to him, and she happened to find out that he's a sex offender.
Can I ask a question? I had a woman call earlier in the 9 o'clock show with it's a different person.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, because you just
found out. Okay. So your friend meets this person in church, thinks he's a nice man, and then how did she find out he's a sex offender?
Facebook, of course.
Facebook. Facebook got it all. I guess when you're dating a man now, because this is the second time, go check the sex offender registry before you accept a second date. I think everyone's got to start doing that. This is the second call we've gotten today on this. So what happened?
Wow.
So what happened?
Well, we don't know. She doesn't know what to do.
Well, does she need a green card?
She doesn't know whether to confront him.
Does she need a green card?
No, she doesn't have a green card yet.
Okay, so, all right, couple things. All right, number one, if in fact he is a sex offender, she's going to have a hard time getting a green card through this marriage because you have to file a waiver, an Adam Walsh waiver, which is almost impossible to get. Okay? Wow. So when you're marrying sex offenders, you're filing an Adam Walsh waiver, and they are really hard to get. I am telling you, have to end up in federal court to get those things approved. It is a long process. All right, number one. Number two, you don't want to live with anybody who has secrets, okay?
That's
and
right.
Whether the secret is I'm a sex offender, I like to wear women's panties. I don't know, whatever the secret is, okay? There should be no secrets or deep, dark secrets between you and your spouse. So, I would not want to live with anybody that has secrets. I would confront that person and say, hey, how come you haven't told me? What's the deal? And then, you got to figure out where your life goes from there. But I'm a confronter. I'm not a person who just hides it.
Can she annul the marriage then? Can she annul? Because I told her you should annul it.
You would be able to annul the marriage, absolutely, because you can get it. You can get an annulment. Let me just explain to you what the difference is between an annulment and a divorce. A divorce is I married somebody, it didn't work out, I am now terminating my marriage, and in the eyes of the law, you were married one time and you terminated your marriage. An annulment is I married somebody, but I was defrauded. Had I known all of the facts before I married this man, I would have said no. So the fact is that he, assuming this is true, he held the fact that he was a sex offender. And because he held that fact, you can go to court and say, had I known he was a sex offender, I wouldn't have married him. That's a big deal. It's not like a small little deal, So, yeah, you can do an annulment on that.
But this won't be held against her later on in the future.
No, because it's as if the marriage never happened. Annulment means it never happened.
Exactly.
The marriage never happened.
Thank you. Keep her in your prayers.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Be well. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Second sex offender of the day. Wow, a lot of people happening that too. And listen, it is what it is. There are sex offenders out there, and some people end up pleading guilty to things maybe they should have or should not have, and they're on it, and maybe they're cured or healed, or they're sorry for what they did. It happened a long time ago, and they're all good people. Can't hide stuff like this, though. All right. 1-800-529-5465. Jill, do we have questions from Social Media Guru, or should we continue with our calls here on our radio show on 93.5 WVIP? All right, so we have 3 questions on Facebook right now. Let's go to our Social Media Guru stand-in, Giselle. How are you, Giselle?
Hello there, Brad.
How are you? All right.
I'm doing pretty well.
How is the stand-in? How do you like being in the stand-in Social Media Guru?
It's been all right so far.
All right so far?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. I'm enjoying myself. As long as I don't make you speak in Spanish, right?
Yeah, more or less, Brad.
Yeah, Giselle came to me after the 9 o'clock show. She goes, I knew you were going to make me speak in Spanish. All right, so what do we got on Facebook? Rapid fire.
Yes, Brad, on the Brad H. Bernstein Facebook, Michael Angelo is asking, my lawyer's about to put in my paperwork for my adjustment of status, but they keep telling me that I am in no rush to do my medical. I should wait until the next 3 to 5 months. I am wondering if it's because I am doing payments with them.
You're in no rush to do your medical. You can't file papers until you file. You need a medical. I have no idea. Giselle, what would the reason be behind that? When you file, I don't know. Maybe the lawyer hasn't got enough money from you yet. I have no idea. But you need to file an adjustment with a medical. You're in a rush. Go do the medical. What's the next question?
Angela James, good afternoon. Please, what application form do I need to download for my married daughter and 2 kids? I am an American citizen.
I-130.
And Sage Duff, hi, how are you? I have a friend who is using Sage Duff, yes.
Sage Duff.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Okay.
How are you? I have a friend who is using someone's name. He came here in the early 90s from Jamaica. Can you help him?
You're saying you have a friend. He has now assumed somebody else's name, and he would like my help. Well, first of all, we can only help him in his real name, not in the assumed name. But let's let him come in, and we'll figure out what damage he has done with this assumed name, and take it from there. How's that?
I agree.
Right, but I assume there's damage there with an assumed name. It's not a. You got to start somewhere. Yeah. Unless it's his stage name, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if your friend is like Madonna, okay, then I think we'll be able to help her. Madonna was not born Madonna, right? Beyonce was not born Beyonce. Was Rihanna born Rihanna? Oh, Beyonce was Beyonce? Okay, was Rihanna Rihanna? Rihanna was Rihanna. Was Kanye West Kanye West? Yes. Kid Rock, who is like, Kid Rock was not born Kid Rock, but we don't care. We don't like Kid Rock anymore since we saw his politics. Giselle, Eminem was not born Eminem. He wasn't named after a candy, right? Like his mom, he wasn't born, and mom said, "You know what? I'm going to name you after chocolate." All right, so it all depends what assumed name you are doing, I guess. All right, what else you got, Giselle? Any other questions?
I don't have any other further questions.
You have no other questions. All right. Thank you. We're going to come back to you at the end of the show. Please leave your questions on Facebook. The beautiful, the ever funny, always laughs at me, so I always like that. Giselle filling in.
You're silly, Brad. That's why.
Thank you. Filling in for Kim. And by the way, that's a very nice thing that you say I'm silly and not really what you're thinking, right?
Oh, yes, really nice, Brad.
Yes, very nice. All right. Thank you, Giselle. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Moses. Moses.
Yeah, hello?
Hi, Moses.
Yeah, what you doing?
What's up?
Yeah, I was just want to ask you, I have a green card, right? And my father brought me up here, but he became a citizen before I was 18. Is there anything I can do?
Your father became a citizen before you were 18. If you had a green card and you were living with him in his sole legal custody, how old are you now?
36.
So let's see. So you were 18 when? 18 years ago. So you fall under the old immigration laws, unfortunately, because you turned 18 around 99 or...
around 99, 98.
Yeah. Okay, so you're under the old citizenship laws. So let me rewind everything, because what I said was wrong, because you fall under the old laws. Where's your mom? Where's your mom?
Where's my mom? She's in Jamaica.
Okay. Was your dad married to your mom?
No.
Is your mom breathing today? She's alive?
Yeah, she's alive.
All right,
but my father's not alive.
Okay, but you're not a citizen. You don't gain under the old laws, you don't gain citizenship through your father unless he gained custody of you through a divorce or your mom passed.
Unless what?
He gained custody of you through a divorce or your mother passed away before you were 18. That would be the only way you would be a citizen. So under those circumstances, that's not what happened. So unfortunately, you are not a citizen in the United States.
Oh, okay.
All right, but hold on and maybe we'll help you deal with whatever issues you have. Hold on. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Tasha. Tasha.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Brad.
How are you?
I'm calling to find out because I just want to get something clear. I have a daughter in Jamaica, right? But my husband petitioned for her. She can still travel on her visiting visa?
Well, if your husband petitioned for her, there's always a concern that she could be stopped at the airport and asking what her intention is. So if you want to be safe rather than sorry, no, don't travel. Because I can't guarantee you what would happen at the airport. They may say, hey, you're petitioned for, you're coming here to live. So, better to be safe than sorry. Let her stay where she is. If your husband petitioned for her, she'll be here in less than a year.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. 1-800-529-5465. I do have to remind everybody that today's show, as always, with or without squeeze, is not only brought to you by the Legal Beagles of Spar and Bernstein. That was my costume from Halloween for my dogs. But we put it up there for Veterans Day. It's also brought to you by USA Credit Repair. It's a company that gets your credit up if it's below 700. And you got to give them a call right now. For the next 30 people who call, this is what I was told. I got an email. 30 people who call who know the answer. I'm supposed to give a citizenship question, and then if you know the answer to the citizenship question, then you get free credit repair for 30 days. So what is the citizenship question? Let's see what we should ask today. Let's see. What is, if you become a citizen of the United States? Okay, here's a good one. If you become a citizen of the United States, what is the promise that you make to the United States of America? So when you become a citizen of the United States, what is the promise you make to America? You put your hand up and you make what promise to America? What are you swearing on to America? If you know the answer to this question from your citizenship test, call 1-800-872-7177, and if your credit's below 700, they will do your credit for free for the first 30 days. Call USA Credit Repair with the answer to what is the promise you make when you put your hand up on your citizenship test. 1-800-872-7177. 1-800-872-7177. 1-800-872-7177. If your credit's below 700, call them right now, and they will get your credit up above whatever it may be within 90 days, or your money back guaranteed. 1-800-872-7177. And the answer to the question is allegiance to the United States, to the Constitution. You are taking an allegiance to the Constitution of the United States, and you will protect the Constitution of the United States. Shh. That's the answer. Call right now, 1-800-872-7177. 1-800-872-7177. And in honor of Veterans Day today, by the way, it's also brought to you by law offices Spartan Bernstein, 1-800-529-5465. But in honor of Veterans Day today, we ran a piece a few weeks ago where we had interviewed a Hector Barajas, who I always called him Victor for some reason, but his name is Hector Barajas, and Hector is a former military who was honorably discharged from the military, from the U.S. military, and then he got deported, and he's trying to make his way back here to the United States right now by trying to prove he is in fact a U.S. citizen, which is apropos to one of the questions that was asked earlier: how can you deport a U.S. citizen? And here's a man who lived his entire life in the United States, is a veteran that we are honoring. If he were to get hit by a bus in Mexico, he would be brought back and buried in Arlington National Cemetery, yet he's living in Mexico right now, deported. Let's see what Hector has to say.
It's the Brad and Squeeze Show, heard each and every single weekday right here, live at 9 and live at noon. And today we have Shannon on the show, one of the attorneys here at the law offices of Spartan Bernstein. And obviously we have Brad. And Brad, an interesting question that comes up all the time is aggravated felonies. I need for you to expound a bit more on that so people can understand more about it.
You know, I actually brought Shannon on to discuss aggravated felonies, but you know, when people hear the term aggravated felonies, it sounds like it's really bad, like you did like the worst thing in the world. You know, they only came up with the term aggravated felonies in 1990, in the Immigration Act of 1990, and they referred to an aggravated felony as murder, drug trafficking, illicit trafficking in firearms. That was it. Yet you were an aggravated felon under those scenarios. In 1996, they expanded the aggravated felony definition. It's over 30 different crimes now are aggravated felonies. You can be found guilty of a theft offense, be sentenced by a judge to more than a year in jail, and have that judge suspend the sentence that you didn't spend a day in jail. You're an aggravated felon.
Wow.
There are so many minor crimes now that are aggravated felonies. It's dizzying for immigration lawyers. It's dizzying for criminal defense attorneys who have to advise their clients that if you plead guilty to an aggravated felony, it's automatic deportation. There is no relief from that unless you're going to file some sort of withholding of removal, that you have a fear of returning to your home country because there's you're going to be tortured. Shannon?
I think even more problematic is that there was a recent U.S. Supreme Court in 2012, and we were talking about this, Brad. I taught a course on it the other day, where it's Kawashima, They owned a restaurant. It was a Japanese couple. They basically had their green card. They've been living here. They own several restaurants. And what ended up happening is that they basically, on their IRS forms, they basically ended up owing $245,000. And they actually were told to pay it back. And they did. And then afterwards, they ended up in immigration court. Because reality is that they owed over $245,000. It was seen as theft. And so basically what they ended up doing
as a fraud.
And they ended up paying it back. And so I'm so sorry. They ended up paying it back. And then at that point they were still deported. U.S. Supreme Court said, hey, we are going to have to agree with the Ninth Circuit. This is fraud. It's over $10,000. At one point it wasn't $10,000 as you're indicating. They actually lowered that amount.
Almost. There's so many crimes now that are aggravated felonies. It's mind-boggling, and there's so many good people who get deported who may have made a mistake in their lifetime, but now are suffering. Not only they're suffering, their family is suffering and it's almost like a double punishment squeeze.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, with us today, we have someone who has actually served in the services here in the United States, but was deported. And I do believe it was Mexico. Hector Barajas?
Yeah, we have.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, we have Hector here. Hector, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon, guys, and thank you guys for having me on the show.
All right. So, Hector, you served in the military. Is that correct?
Yes, I served from 1995 to 2001.
What service were you in? Air Force, Marines, Army?
I was U.S. Army. I served with the 82nd Airborne, so I did a lot of airborne operations, jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, as we say, and putting my life at risk. I didn't serve in combat, but I did. I'm considered a wartime veteran because of my service during 9/11.
And when did you first come to the United States?
I came to the United States at the age of 7, around 1985.
And you came with a green card?
No, we actually got my green card around the age of 15. My parents fixed through Ronald, I believe it was the Ronald Reagan.
The amnesty.
The amnesty,
right.
And I get it to them exactly.
Right, and then your parents got their green cards. Your sister got a green card. I understand. You have a U.S. citizen daughter who's now age 11, and then at some point after you got your green card, you joined the military and you served honorably, and you were, and I also understand you were honorably discharged from the military as well. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. So now, how did you end up in Mexico, deported and separated from your family? What happened?
Sure. Basically, after I got out of the military service, I had problems with alcohol and some drug addiction, and I was involved in an incident where somebody fired a weapon out of a vehicle. Nobody was hurt, but I did end up spending 3 years in prison, 3 years with half, for a which is called PC Code 246 in the state of California, discharge of a firearm into a vehicle, and that's what I was eventually deported for.
And that's an aggravated felony.
Yes.
That is correct. Yes.
Right. So you got deported, and what year did you get deported? Because there's no relief from that deportation unless you have a fear of returning to Mexico.
Right.
Exactly. I got deported in 2004, and I didn't want to stay in Mexico, and I came back about 6 months later. And I got in 2009, and then I was deported again, and that's when I decided to stay here.
Right. So you re-entered the United States without permission, which, by the way, you were very lucky that you didn't go back to jail again, because that's actually a crime.
Right. How did they get him in 2009, though?
How did they find you in 2009?
Yeah, how did they find him?
Basically, I was driving around. It was a fender bender, and I had a ticket that I didn't pay.
Oh,
that turned into a warrant. So they took me in. It was time served for the warrant for the ticket, but then I had an immigration hold because I was previously deported. The immigration officer that was handling my case said that because I hadn't committed a new crime and in my military service, they decided they were just going to reinstate the deportation, and they weren't going to give me any federal time. So
that was very lucky, because a lot of people end up doing time in jail and then getting deported. Now Hector has a very interesting story from here.
Okay.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how he helps other people who have been deported. He's lived it himself, and how he's lived it, and he's learned to cope and survive, and he's taking what he's learned in getting deported and I assume helping others, not only in Mexico but around the world. And we're going to talk a little bit about what he does to help people. And in addition to that, we're going to help him with his immigration status and see if we can give him some advice on how to get back here legally.
That's
so,
great.
but Hector, how are you helping deported aliens right now in Mexico?
Sure. So right now I opened up a shelter with other people, and we have a deported veterans support house here in Tijuana, and we're more of a resource center now than actually taking people in. We help them with their VA benefits, with compensation pensions, volunteer counselors. We have a direct relationship with the ACLU, so they review some of their cases. Some of the people are already in some kind of legal resolve with their cases being worked on. We have funeral details for the men, and then we started organizing with other communities. So right now we have veterans being deported to 42 countries that we're working with, that are either in detention, being deported, or already deported to their home country.
Now, how did you get the idea to do all of this? What was the impetus for you to say, okay, I'm deported, and now I'm going to help every other person who gets deported, not only in Mexico, from around the world, reacclimate themselves and be able to try to live a better life for themselves in another country? How did you get this idea? What precipitated it?
It was a need, basically, that I saw that needed to happen. I was already taking in deported veterans into my house before we started the house, and then over the years it just turned more, like I said, we started off as a shelter and then it turned into a resource center. But that's just because I've always haven't been content with just providing just the basic needs. I think there's more that we can do, and
I think it's
fabulous. Just had a congressional visit on our second congressional visit on Friday to Tijuana, and we're working with legislators to introduce legislation which is very conservative. Most of these guys would go with the legislation that's been introduced.
I actually find it quite ironic that here you are helping veterans who have been deported from the United States. You're in Tijuana. You can't come back to the United States, and you have congressmen and congresspeople coming to visit you in Tijuana to see how they can help their fellow military people who also get deported. It's quite ironic.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question. How many countries are you currently serving right now, in terms of helping deported veterans?
42 countries that we have identified, but it could be more.
Wow. And what kind of aggravated felonies are you seeing that veterans who have been deported in the military, who have served our military, who have served our country? These are veterans who have been to war, possibly have been in combat, defended American freedoms. What kind of things are you seeing them getting deported for?
There's no pattern that we've seen as far as what crime is committed, because it could be anywhere from fraud, from a check, to domestic violence, to a couple of pounds of marijuana, a couple of ounces. But we have seen, one of the things that we have seen is for the combat veterans, there is a direct relationship with their PTSD or their military service, that when they got out of the service they didn't cope well, didn't have the support, and they just basically went into a downhill spiral. But they did serve their prison sentence. We want to be very clear that we don't condone any criminal activity, but this is something that's not new to veterans. There's 22 suicides happening every day in military veterans. We've lost more men in suicides, men and women in suicides, than we lost in the Afghanistan and Iraq.
And it's a very good point that you make. People go into combat. People are in the military. They come back with post-traumatic stress syndrome. I think that's
many things happen when that happens.
Many things happen when that, and people are getting deported when maybe the U.S. government should be taking a look at it from a mental health standpoint instead of a deportation and a punishment standpoint. And I think that's a really good point that you're making there.
But you know what, Brad? I mean, he mentioned earlier a couple of things. One, he came to the United States at the age of 7.
Right.
2, he had alcohol and drug problems after getting out of the service.
Right.
Do you think that these would be things that the United States government would actually take in consideration where his immigration concerns?
When you had the congressional team come down to Tijuana to see what you're doing, did you have a discussion about it with them?
Yes, they're mostly focusing on the VA benefits, on how they can change certain VA policies. So there was 13 things that we asked that hopefully they could change, because if we can't go home, and I don't see us going home anytime soon, at the very least we could change their economic situation by getting certain VA benefits, and also making sure that they get the medical attention that they should receive. So that was the biggest one.
And also to address Squeeze's point, court. That's what we do all the time when we go into court in front of an immigration judge. We bring up all these points in order to be able to show that, hey, why should they go back to this country? Not only have they served their country, but they also are at this point suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
And they have a family. He has a family here, right?
But the problem with Hector was he was an aggravated felon, and then he re-entered the United States, and then that was automatic deportation without even being able to see an immigration judge.
Absolutely, and that's correct. But even before that, when it was an aggravated felony, I mean, of course, we're not sure what he could have made, but we could have talked about CAT. There's also CAT, Convention Against Torture. Right. We could have talked about, hey, going back, we don't know what would happen. Those are things that we would need to explore in order to
I'm very happy that Spartan Birdseed is handling this situation by speaking with him and is going to be working with him.
Well, hopefully we can. Now, I understand, Hector, I understand that you recently got a pardon from Governor Jerry Brown in California. Tell us about that.
Sure, we submitted 5 pardons. I'm part of a steering committee for deported veterans in the United States, and we had never thought about asking for pardons, and we asked for 5, and we got 3, and
you were one of
basically them. I don't have exactly. I don't have a criminal record, and I was already in the process of U.S. citizenship about a year before I got the pardon, and now basically there's no reason why they should deny me, but they're looking at maybe denying my case.
Well, let's take a look at your immigration situation, okay?
Sure.
You can look at your immigration, and I'm going to let Shannon, I'm just going to frame it, and I'm going to let Shannon talk about it a little more in detail with you, okay? You could look at your immigration situation from two different vantage points. There's a vantage point of, I'm deported, and I was deported after a re-entry, which is a 20-year bar to even applying to come back with a green card. So let's say you want to look at it from the vantage point of I want to come back with a green card. You have a 20-year bar after being deported after a prior re-entry from a deportation. It's a 20-year bar. Now, he got a pardon. With that pardon, he no longer has an aggravated felony. It goes down from a 20-year bar to a 10-year bar. He got deported in 2009, so conceivably he can try to reapply for a green card in 2019 and re-enter with a waiver and a petitioner for a green card in 2019. That's one way that you can try to attack his case.
Right.
Okay. Another way, and that would be with a 212 waiver. Another way to try to attack his case, which is what we were talking about with Hector about 2 minutes before we got on the air, was that there are rules and regulations and laws that say that if you were a member of the U.S. Armed Forces and during combat and during times of war, and he was in 9/11, it was a time of war, you can, even if you were an illegal alien in the military, as long as you were in the military, you can apply directly for U.S. citizenship, provided you can prove good moral character. And Hector has told us that his citizenship is in the process of being denied because the government's saying he did not have good moral character in the last 5 years.
Well, what he has is a notice of intent to deny.
Right.
And so with those, basically, you're responding to it and basically explaining why you should not deny and being given that opportunity to do so. So it looks like if he's able to establish his good moral character, what he's been doing, all the equities of what's going on in his life at this point, and the fact that he has an 11-year-old child, I could see them actually granting it.
And quite frankly, Hector, you know, if you can show all your equities, I mean, look at how many people you're helping.
Right.
You have Congress coming down, congressmen coming down to Tijuana because you are doing such a wonderful job. You're doing this in 42 countries as a deported veteran. You have parents here. You were living here since you were 7. You know, you had one bad day. You had a bad day. You were in a car and somebody shot a gun. Nobody got hurt. You did your time. You were punished. But having one bad day doesn't mean you should be punished for the rest of your life.
And there's case law to
and there's case law that backs that up. And Shannon's 100% right. Now, Shannon, let's say, you know, because we're not handling his case at this moment. We just met Hector.
Right.
Okay, and I'll let Hector talk a little bit in a second. Let's say his citizenship is denied. a de novo review would be appropriate?
Absolutely. I mean, you would certainly at that point file an APA claim or even a mandamus actually in federal court and explain why it is that they're wrong in their decision. And at that point, the federal court would make a decision either to remand it back or just give it to him.
Right.
And so normally it works in those ways, especially with these kind of scenarios that you're talking about, the fact that he's military and then he could get the congressional representatives to actually actually write a letter in his behalf. I could see that actually being excellent in being able to get a de novo review in federal court.
That's good.
Hector, what do you think about all this?
See, one of the things that Shannon mentioned earlier is that when they did send the letter, we are sending a rebuttal letter explaining all the things that we've been doing and why I shouldn't be denied the citizenship and exactly. And about the other stuff, this is the first time that that I was hearing about the other stuff that she mentioned. I know that attorneys are
about because you could attack this from two ways. You could say I want to come back as a green card holder because you know in 2019 if you have a petitioner, or I think actually it's a smarter way is to attack it that I should be a citizen because I was in the military, and then that solves all your problems, and that's probably the fastest way to do it.
Yes.
And quite frankly, if they deny you. And what I would do actually is I would, submit as much documentation as you can to show good moral character. I mean, you must have a ton of this, okay? And I mean, you have to have good moral character to have even gotten the pardon by a governor.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a much higher burden than it is to show good moral character for citizenship. And I would give them 90 days. Literally 90 days to make a decision to make you a citizen. If not, I would be bringing it into federal court.
Right, because you can file a mandamus at that time if you feel that it's an unreasonable delay in making a decision on the case.
All right, but so Hector, I know you have your own attorneys. Obviously, we're happy to help you any way we can. So if you want, we can talk further with you off the air. Hector, can you give us how, if anybody wanted to reach you or contact you? You're doing such wonderful work, how they can reach you, how they, do you accept donations for what you're doing? Tell us a little bit about your organization and how they can contact you and your organization.
Sure, they can definitely contact us, and it looks like you guys already put up the website information. So we have all the information on there, how they can donate, what kind of things we need, also which bills and legislation are in right now that they can support. And it's very important that we continue to support our men and women regardless of where they're at. Oddly enough, the only way I can return right now is if I get hit by a bus. Then I can be taken back to the United States. They'll put me in a coffin and give me the 21 gun salute.
Well, yeah,
we've had that happen.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can come back to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery, but you can't come back to live in America in the meantime. But I will tell you, Hector, you are a true American hero. A true American hero, somebody who has really lived what America stands for. Immigrating to America, making a life for yourself, serving your country, being able to be given other people second chances in life, helping other people. That's what America's about. I wish Donald Trump watches this. I wish all the senators watch this, the congressmen watch this. You deserve to be back in America, and I think one day you're going to, believe it or not.
Thank you very much,
and thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Okay, and before you go, just want to remind people that, of course, you can go to the website deportedveteransupporthouse.org to find out more about what it is that Hector does in helping deported veterans all over the world. Once again, Hector, thank you so much for being on the show here, Brad and Squeeze Show.
Thank you, guys. And I just wanted to point out one last thing, that these are the kind of things that are very important, that we raise awareness and we educate people on citizenship, that it's not automatic, so they can reach out to attorneys or their local JAG officers so people can become citizens, because a lot of us were under the impression or miseducated, or we didn't have a good chain of command. So thank you guys for having us on, and hopefully more people will, that if you're not a U.S. citizen, go out there and contact the right immigration lawyer so you can start your process, because you could have a bad day, you could and you could end up in my situation.
I can imagine, Hector, how many veterans in the military think that they're citizens and probably not.
Right.
That you come across.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again.
And thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Okay.
There you have it, Hector Barajas. Remember to, of course, go to his website, check him out, find out what it is that he does, and spread the word around the world about him helping out deported veterans.
I guarantee you that we haven't heard the last of Hector.
I am quite sure
I
that we
think
haven't.
this is going to end up very happily for him. He's gonna come back.
We got our fingers crossed and our prayers.
And we're going to see him face to face with his U.S. passport. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shannon, thank you also for being here with us.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank
Wonderful.
you for having me.
Right. Last second edition here, Shannon. Thank you very much.
I know. Thank you.
Right, she's awesome, Shannon.
Thank
Oh, I love her.
Yeah,
It's always a pleasure having her.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm an American citizen, but if I had to pick, like, I love all the lawyers here, but if, like, I'm in deportation, I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth.
Go on. Open mouth, insert foot.
If they wanted,
Open mouth, insert foot.
If they wanted to deport me, I wouldn't want anyone next to me than Shannon.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
All right, wake up, Candy. I see she said she was sleeping during that segment. We have rapid fire. We got about a minute to go. Let's go.
Okay, Carol Messam, what paperwork do I need to download to get my working permit?
I-765.
Okay. I am 20 years old. This is Akraf Marufi. I am 20 years old and my father is a permanent resident. He filed for me about a year ago. How much longer do I have to wait for my green card?
You're 20, hopefully another year, and if you hit 21, you're going to wait 5 more.
Okay. Del Rito, which way is faster to bring your fiance to the States, apply for a K-1 visa, or do it through the regular process?
K-1.
And how long should it take to file for my naturalization?
It's 9 months.
Drew Morrison, I have a question about my status as a student. The TSA, the SEVIS, and the USCIS have not corresponded together, and it is somewhat jeopardizing my status.
Okay, I need to know more. I don't know what the TSA, which is the people who look for bombs in the airports, have to do with your student visa. But come in. I don't understand the question. What else?
Okay, and Denise Johnson, in March, her husband submitted an adjustment package, but it was returned because of minor errors. It was resubmitted, and then they submitted evidence that they asked for. We received a response that the evidence was received on June 14th, and they said that they would begin working on my case, and they would notify me of anything else. I received an email that my name was updated for my I-765, but she hasn't received her biometrics or anything else.
We're going to end the show now, but we got to go anyway. We're at the end of the show. Somebody's screwing with us. Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. Take care. Let's run the show.
The proceeding was informational only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spahn Bernstein Law Firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easily remembered, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spahn Bernstein located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spahn and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465.
What are you doing?